with no rain in the forecast for the Maritimes and only a small amount for Newfoundland and Labrador later this week. Conditions are dangerously dry. In Nova Scotia, there is a burn ban in effect, and as of 4 p.m. yesterday, there is a ban on travel through the woods in our province, including on trail systems. For more information on conditions, we're joined by Scott Tingley, Forest Protection Manager with DNRR. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good this morning, and I hope you are as well. We really appreciate you joining us to give us the latest. How are conditions in Nova Scotia as of this morning?
As we talked about in the briefing yesterday, conditions are very, very dry in Nova Scotia, and they're only going to get drier. So we've been experiencing a long-term precipitation deficit. We've been told there's parts of the province that are anywhere from 100 to even 200 millimeters in deficit for this time of year that we would normally like to see. So that's where we have been for probably the better part of a week or two, and even as of the latest weather briefing we received yesterday from Environment Canada, we're still looking at another 10 days across the entire province before we receive any significant rain. So we may see a few isolated showers in the next 10 days, but there's really nothing in the forecast that's showing any significant relief for the forest conditions.
We're showing actually some images right now of trees already beginning to change and drop their leaves because conditions are so unusually dry. I have heard that forest fires or wildfires are generally caused by human activity. Is that true?
For Nova Scotia, it is. It varies across the country. Some areas are more susceptible or more prone to what we call natural fires or lightning-caused fires. But in Nova Scotia, yes, the vast majority, high 90% is caused by human activity. And a lot of that can be accidents, but some are deliberate as well. But the bottom line is it's human activity, and so that's why it was important to start putting the restrictions in that the province has. So starting with a provincial-wide burn ban last week, it was felt it was necessary to start restricting activity in the woods, not only to we want to prevent fires and protect communities and our natural resources from wildfire.
So for people who might be just tuning in this morning, I think they need to know that let's be a little bit more clear about what this means. So there is a ban on activities in the woods, no walking or running or using ATVs on trails in the woods. Can you just be super clear about what this ban on activity in the woods means for people?
So, I mean, we're certainly trying to be as clear as we can, and that is the basic message, it's to stay out of the woods. Now, we are receiving a lot of questions, as you can imagine, about, specific activities and specific locations. Some of the clarity is around, if it's personal property, you're not restricted from its use. You're certainly still restricted from activities that use fire or could cause a fire. But people aren't restricted from using their personal property. But it does mean, you shouldn't be inviting additional people onto your property, or if you don't own the property, then you're restricted from going in the woods. Likewise with Crown lands, Crown lands are going to be closed to access. And so the bottom line is it is so dry right now that, it's felt is needed to keep people out of the woods. So again, we're getting a lot of questions about what people can or cannot do under these restrictions, and we're also saying, if you're questioning it, there's a couple things. People can call their local Department of Natural Resource office and get some clarity. Likewise, if they're thinking, activity that they might want to do could cause a fire, then obviously err on the side of caution. Don't do it. People can also apply for a travel permit in the woods, particularly around activities that, if it's their livelihood or their work that requires them to be in the woods, people can still get a travel permit through the Department of Natural Resources to travel through the woods. But this is meant to curb, recreational and unnecessary activities in the woods.
Well, thank you for that clarification. And then with regard to clarification on the burn ban, I understand, how long is this ban in effect? And I understand, tell us about some things you shouldn't be doing. For example, obviously no campfires, no burning of brush, but fireworks, firecrackers, sparklers, things like that are also banned. Am I correct?
Yeah, so anything that's considered an open fire, so burning wood, campfires, brush burning, chimeneas, anything of the like that's openly burning wood that's not inside a building, that's considered open fire. So those are not permitted activities. Fireworks, particularly consumer fireworks, the ones you can buy off the shelf, at a store, that anybody can go in and buy. Those are restricted through the Office of the Fire Marshal, but tied to our burn ban map. So while the map is red, they're not permitted. And the ban is in effect until October 15th or until we get significant rain. So, I mean, we're like everybody else. We're certainly hoping for the rain a lot sooner than October 15th. But October 15th is the end of the regulated wildfire season in Nova Scotia. And so the proclamation was written as such we've got it in place as long as we need it. And we hope we don't need it that long.
Well, Scott, we appreciate your time this morning. I know that since we had the significant wildfires 2 years ago in Nova Scotia, that people are more mindful. Is there any last words of advice you want to share with our viewers before we go?
Yeah, obviously we're mindful of what happened here in 2023. We've had other significant fire seasons in this province in 2016. So those memories are with us, and we don't want to repeat that in Nova Scotia. And we not only don't want to repeat that, the country is having another really challenging fire season. And we're doing our part in Nova Scotia by not having fires and increasing the demand on resources. Things are stretched across the country. We are ready to respond in this province if something happens. We've got crews and equipment, on standby. We work very closely with the volunteer fire departments. We've been able to get to any fires that have happened. We've been on them quickly and kept them small, but we just want to get that message out. Now is not the time to take risks. We have to exercise caution and get through this together.
Scott, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having us on.